3, 2, 1. Okay, and we're going to stream now. This will set.
My cat out of the way.
Oh, come on. Is he a union cat?
No. So I guess he's allowed.
There you go. All right. Okay. All right. I think we are going to be, they're preparing. The waiting, the fun part of it. Yay for technology.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Don't envy you in this day.
It worked well. Oh, I think we're good. I think we're going. All right, we're going to get going here. So, welcome everybody. I am JK, the features programmer for the Philadelphia Unnamed Film Festival, and we thank you so much for being a part of the virtual celebration that is PUFF 5. I almost went 4, 5. And we are very happy to be here with the Friday block, day 1 of PUFF. And for those who just joined us for the first block kicking off PUFF 2020, we had an incredibly powerful piece of filmmaking, 2 pieces of filmmaking that kicked off the celebration. Block 1 included the young lady who is at the, I guess, across from me, Miss Emily Bennett, and her short film, Smile for Me. Emily, how are you?
I'm good. You know, COVID and all that stuff, but yeah, doing
Well, your hair
good.
looks great for COVID, so I just want to let you know that. So, you know.
Way too long. Thank you.
Way too long. Nice. It's great to talk with you again. It has been too long on this kind of platform, but thank you for joining us, and thank you for bringing Smile for Me to PUFF.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
We also have on the bottom portion of your screen 2 of the incredibly talented people behind the feature, The Silent Party, out of Argentina. We were honored, and I was honored to be able to program this as the opening feature for PUFF for a variety of different reasons, as we talked about Wednesday on the Filmmakers Roundtable. But, you know, beyond the fact that this is a very confronting feature, let alone block, this feature right here offers incredibly powerful performances, as well as handling themes that for some people are very uncomfortable with. And that's what we like to do here at PUFF, and that's challenge the viewer to be able to take the journey with these characters. And we're honored, and we'll do ladies first, we are honored to welcome in the lead actress of The Silent Party, Jazmin Stuart. Jazmin, how you doing?
Fine.
Good. It's great to have you. Thank you.
Invitation.
And we are also honored to actually, I guess, return Mr. Diego Fried, the filmmaker behind The Silent Party. Diego, how are you?
Fine. Thank you very much for inviting us and for the introduction as well.
Oh, my pleasure. So we're streaming right here on the Philadelphia Unnamed Film Festival Facebook page, and we're going to be doing these Q&As through the Facebook page all through the next 2 days. So if you know, as you're watching this and you're interested, at the end of it, we'll get the information so you can reach out to the filmmakers if you have questions. Also, we have some people joining us in the chat right now, and I want to kick it off with this. And I guess this is kind of a little bit out of left field from where I was going to go. But Maria, as I brought up before, said this film looks like $1 million, talking about The Silent Party. It looks like a bigger budget feature, even though, Diego, you said the other night it was low budget. So she wanted to pay kudos to that. But that's where I want to start, actually, with this. And Diego, I'll throw it over to you first with the time we have. How important is it for a low-budget film to be able to have that polish and that shine? And does it make an impact when it comes to film festivals?
I think especially for the low-budget films and films that like mine or many others, the film festivals are very, very important to show and to bring to the public. For us, for example, to be in PUFF with the Silent Party is for us the opportunity to have a US audience and to see reactions. And I think that me and all Jazmin also, we learn about how the film is how the US audience feels the film. That I think maybe is different from the Argentinian audience or other countries' audience. But the film festival are very, very important to bring these kind of films to the public.
Emily, let me throw it over to you from a shorts perspective, because this is, I mean, Lovers last year was huge. It was huge. It had a huge festival run. And it's kind of the same question to you, because, you know, you played a variety of different festivals around the world, including Sitges. So you had different audiences in front of you. How important is it to get it out there and have a certain look so those festivals pick it up around the world?
I mean, I think it's invaluable for a filmmaker to learn more about his or her or their process. Honestly, it's, you spend so much time with a crew and your cast and in post and going through it that, quite frankly, at the end, it doesn't really make sense anymore. I find it's almost like repeating a word over and over. It stops meaning anything after a while until you can share it with someone, and then you can kind of see it with their eyes. And so I think even kind of remotely, like now we can't be in a cinema physically, but I do still feel, I feel like I still kind of watch the film new again, you know, knowing that new fresh eyes are looking at it. So I think it's a really important part of continuing to learn as a filmmaker.
When we see these two projects, they really are companion pieces to each other for different reasons. And that's one of the things when I programmed the Silent Party, Emily, I had reached out to you about bringing on Smile for Me, because there had been a connection of toxic masculinity when it comes to both of these stories. And, you know, especially in the time of #MeToo, I know, Jazmin, that Diego had talked about during our Wednesday conversation about the collaboration he had with you on this character, on this story. So, Jazmin, let me talk to you first about this. How did you become connected to the Silent Party, and what was that collaboration like with Diego to bring a very confronting, very hot button story to the screen that we've seen as part of Puff?
It was a very long journey, because it started like, I don't know, 6 years ago, when Diego reached to me with this first draft, first version of a script. And I read it, and I found instantly that there was something very interesting in the story. But during the years, Diego continued working on that script, and it went through a big transformation, and in a deep sense. I mean, it was like fulfilled with more with something more profound, and in our conversations about the script, I think that Diego maybe could find a female I don't know, perspective of the story. I direct. I'm a director as well, and I also I'm a huge activist for the feminism movement here in Argentina. So we had like a very very profound conversation about the character, about the relation with with her father, with her fiance, and how the power. I think it's a film about the power, and how the power is divided between the men of the story, and she's the only woman in all the story, and she's all the time trying to be more like, I don't know, more powerful in her decisions. And it's a story about power and about violence, and who owns the power of the violence, men, women. What happens when a woman wants to I don't know, embrace her own violence? What's the reaction in men around her, you know? So it was very interesting. It was a long journey, and I feel that, I don't know, Diego as a director is very, I don't know, very open to many points of view. Our work was like a tribe thing, you know, with all the areas of the team, and I think that was very important.
I love the fact you use tribe, because it really is that kind of connection, no matter whether it's a short or a feature. You know, you're brought together to bring a vision to the screen, and it has its ups and downs, but you connect in that way, and hopefully you connect as a tribe on more projects. Diego, let me throw it over to you. Same question, that connection and that relationship formed with the cast, the crew, with Jazmin when it comes to the silent party.
Yes, I felt the same. I think that we really conform or made a tribe doing a movie. I think that in movies in general, not all the people, but most of the people that work in cinema, they do it because they love cinema, and I think we have the privilege to work in something that most of the people that surround us and are doing it because it's a passion. Yeah. And I think that is unique as an industry. I don't know how many industries you have in the world that all the people that are working in that are doing it because of passion. And I think that made possible for us to make this movie in 3 weeks and make looking, and like this person said that this looked like $1 million, I don't know, $5 million movie, I don't know. And that is because we are very focused on what we are trying to tell, the story that we were trying to tell. And I did the same that I could. It wasn't an easy job, but I've been surrounded by very talented people. Jazmin is incredible, of course. No, I don't need to say anything. You have to watch her in the screen. And but all the people that surround me, it was very in the movie. And I didn't see many people, for example, while we were doing the movie, watching their cell phones. They were in the story. And that is very, very important, I think. And that is magic.
All right. So Emily, speaking of cell phones, your lead antagonist is very well casted and makes an impact. But talk about coming together and what was the genesis behind Smile for Me?
I hate getting catcalled, frankly. It's one of my least favorite things, walking around New York City. And it draws something primal in me, something that is both scared and furious at the same time. And I know it's passing and they probably don't remember it, but it's something that it's just, most women have encountered it before. And it's something I was like, I want to do a short film about that, and about, like, you guys were talking, Diego and Jazmin, the switching of power, and who has that power, who has that ability to cause that violence. And so, Jay, I love that you say that he is the antagonist, because I totally agree. Basically, the woman is based on a real woman, Mary Rogers, who was basically New York City's Black Dahlia. She would stand in the window of a cigar shop modeling in the early 1900s, and men would flock to see her. And then she was found dead in the Hudson, having been kidnapped and raped and just thrown away. And so that was the model of my ghost, my monster, if you will. And for him, yes, he's very well cast. Chris is a wonderful human being. But he did a wonderful job with this guy. And I wanted to make that first phone call, well, the phone call he has with his friend, you don't hear what they're saying, but you do understand that the night before he did something very problematic. He maybe raped a girl, but you're only hearing his side of the conversation. And so, yeah.
Go ahead, Emily.
Oh, no. And so you open the film with that. And I think it might take a second to kind of understand, because since you're hearing it from his perspective, and it's so interesting that you paired these together, talking about perspectives, you might not know that that's what happened, but if you kind of read into his denial and his trying to like make light of the subject, then, you know, he's not a bad guy to himself. Like, no one's a villain to themselves, but we know as the audience, like, he didn't do something right. And I think there's a price to pay for that. And so that's where Mary came in.
It's so interesting because this is two different variations on rape revenge. And Emily, you talk about the fact that we only hear a one-sided conversation, and you have the supernatural force that reinforces his consequences for what might be his actions based on what we see. And with the silent party, you know, you have a woman in Laura who has reached a point where, you know, this is not something that's intended, but something that happens because of the group of antagonists, the quartet of young men who do this. And Diego, it's interesting because you use technology as kind of a gateway to tell the story. Because a lot of times in flashbacks, it's not done in that kind of perspective. But, you know, the flashbacks generally are very dreamy, or they're black and white, or they're very polished. This, you know, when it comes to the silent party, it's a very grainy video. And it feels almost like it's forbidden. We're voyeuristic when it comes to it. Can you talk about that aspect and, you know, using that to kind of do the flashbacks and what it brought to the film and what it brings to you feeling the way you do with the character of Laura?
Yes, about the images captured by the phone, I use for the movie what we really shoot with the phone. And it looks like a snuff movie, I think.
Yes.
A sort of snuff movie. And I like that. And about the flashbacks, we discovered that in the editing room. The script was absolutely linear, no flashbacks in the script. And when we've been editing with the editor, Mariana Quiroga, a wonderful editor, and we thought that maybe the character that plays Jazmin, this traumatic event for her during the night, she will remember slowly what happened, because maybe her brain will stop the whole thing in the memory because it's too traumatic. So she remembers slowly, and the point of view of the movie is her point of view. So the idea was to feel what she feels for the viewers, and to slowly going back to what happened. And that generates something very interesting, because till the moment that you saw what really happened, the audience have to make choices, strange choices in their minds, and confront them to a position that is not, is awkward, I know, is uncomfortable. And I think that was something that we found in the editing room. And I think that is the editing is to rewrite the movie after the shooting, I think. And this is an example, maybe.
Jazmin, can you jump in and talk about the aspect of what you brought to the character of Laura that wasn't there?
Yeah, I don't know. I think what I brought to the character were many little things, like very from the senses and from the emotional world of the character. Even between her and the other characters, no? What's happening between this daughter and this father? What's the backstory? Something's wrong there.
Yeah.
Something's too strange, you know. And I don't know. I can't remember right now all the talks that Diego and I had before shooting, and all those little things that were like all the time like nourishing the character and the story. But there were many of those things that I know because I'm a woman. I know because I have friends. I know because I'm a daughter. I know because I don't know, because I've been walking through those lands many times, many times. And I know I am 44 years old, and the character is like, she's going to get married, but she's already old.
Right.
But she doesn't feel old at all. She doesn't want to feel like that.
Right.
She wants to feel alive. I mean, she's like a very special character, and she has this sort of male energy as well. She's not the classic lady. I mean, she has this power and this strength as well, and this desire to feel different things. And so it's very complex, and I feel that it became complex in the process of rehearsing and talking a lot and imagining the energy of the different scenes, and what do we want to tell, what's this story about. I mean, it was a long process, and I feel that my input for the story or the character was very like from the senses and from I don't know, from some images that I had, and I think that makes the movie alive as well. I mean, we all the actors were like very I don't know, like very I don't know, like feeling the story. Right. And feeling the characters.
Yeah, and you know what, when you look at these characters and you see these characters that live in the gray area through the entire film for the choices they make and the consequences that happen with it, it does take the viewers on a ride. We've got a few minutes left, and I want to thank everyone for being a part of this Q&A kicking off the Philadelphia Unnamed Film Festival. We've got up next Block 2 with Poser, which is a mockumentary true crime feature. Raw, gritty, very engaging, and it deals again with very connecting issues. In this case, family as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Check it out in just a few minutes, and we thank you so much for being part of Puff. But let's finish it up with this. And Emily, I'm going to throw it out to you first, because for me, you know, sound and score means everything to me. And for short films especially, they've got to look good, they've got to sound good, especially to make it in the festivals, but especially with horror, it's so impactful, and sound is a majority of the experience. So talk to me about sound and score and what it brought to your short.
Totally. So first of all, I have to mention Justin Brooks, who not only shot the film, but also edited and did all of the music. He does kind of everything. So he created the score at, you know, our apartment, and so he went to Berkeley for Berkeley Conservatory for Music, and then he's ridiculous. So he created that wonderful score, the kind of throwback feel that you get from it. And then Travis Duffield did the sound design, and I wanted to put Chris in a position that women are often in horror films. I wanted it to be scary, and I wanted the jumps to be there, and I wanted to hear those nails on the other side of the door, and and the laughter from the woman is actually my laughter. So.
I like the personal connection with it. Yes, the kitty is here, you know. But one thing I will real quick about your short, it's also the silence. Great job on getting the locations around Brooklyn where there's no one. So I'm assuming it's probably early morning when you shot this, because a lot of the area is completely vacant. So that silence as he's walking, and all you hear is his voice on the and listening to the other side of the conversation nature, it's very kind of startling, because as you get closer in proximity to the ghost, to the supernatural force, that silence becomes more of a tension builder than anything else.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that. I tend to I like to not overscore my work when it doesn't need it. Barker. He's named after Clive Barker, by the way. Thank you for appreciating that. I think sound is so precious in horror, and I think silence is also as precious. So I think that's as much a part of your toolkit as anything else. So yeah, that was definitely a choice that we all made as a team. So yeah, thank you for noticing that.
You're most welcome. Most welcome. Diego, talk about the aspect of sound and score when it comes to this film.
Well, the silence in the silent party is very important also.
It's very key to the narrative. So,
but Martin Griniaski, the man behind the sound, he did a great job. I think we did a very immersive sound design for a movie theater, and with a lot of sounds that come here and that. And I agree with Emily that the silence is as much as important as the sound. And about the music and the score, the reference was Johnny Greenwood, what he often do with Paul Thomas Anderson's movie that I love. And I try to do with Pedro a score that is for a genre movie, but not the typical one.
right.
With a little noisy instruments and things. And most of the things were recorded live. I wanted that. I think that the emotion that a musician brings to the instrument, you know, whatever it is, you feel it when you see a movie. So I didn't want to do music with synthesizers for this movie in particular. And I think that you feel it when you see the movie and the music.
Oh, I would agree. And it's more than just a theater experience. You feel it when you're watching it, even on a screen like this or on the TV, you feel it because, you know, Jazmin, that's one thing about the final confrontation. You know, you're looking at between the character of Laura and Maxie. And, you know, for me, the whole sound design score really kind of builds up because you feel every impact of what they're going through. And the music kind of, it builds that energy and it builds that fury that she's feeling about it and the anger that he has about it because he's been caught for what he's done. So for you watching it, how much does the sound and score play into telling that story of Laura?
50% of the movie. I mean, for me, sound is very important. I mean, when I'm watching a movie or when I'm directing a movie or when I don't know, I think it's 50% because it's like the atmosphere is something that you can hear, that you can listen to, and in the end of the movie, it's true what you said, that all the violence, that it's like an explosion, and it's also happening in your ears.
Right.
Yeah, it's very important.
And one quick thing before we finish up, and Diego, this is something that you brought up when we talked about the origins of the silent party. I believe India, correct?
Yeah, India.
Yeah, India with the party that you see in the film, and they're listening to chants, and that silence and just seeing the movements and then seeing Laura put the headset on and enter that world is so crucial because it's very focused score and sound, which is something you could have just incorporated around, but you're very smart in how you incorporate it, and it must have been a lot of fun. Was there anything in the headset, Jazmin?
Mm-hmm. Sorry?
Did you have any music in the headset, or was that improv with the dance?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, of course. I enjoyed a lot doing that scene. I love dancing, and I felt that it was like, I don't know, she was like liberating, I don't know, being free. So yeah, it was very important to have the real music. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we're going to be finishing up here. Check out the next block with Poser. And Fucked Up Point Blank is our short film, and it's a lot of fun, folks. If you haven't already. And real quick comments, Brian, Nicole, Maria, loved both of them. They found them to be very embracing, very tense. So tremendous job, folks. Emily, where can we find out more about you, about the short, about what you're doing?
Well, next, my partner, Justin Brooks, and I partnered with Theo James and Andrew Corkin, and we shot a feature during quarantine. So that's announced in Barbara Crampton's column in this month's Fangoria. So check it out.
Fantastic. And Diego, what about the film? What are we doing with the film here?
Well, my next one? Or
does it have more festival appearances? What's going on?
Next is Italy, Spain, I hopefully will try to go. I don't know if I will be able to, but I will try. And maybe we'll have a drive-in screen shortly, maybe in 2 weeks. Jazmin didn't know. Don't know yet.
There we go. There we go.
I just have the news. So.
Oh. And Jazmin, where can we find out more about you? What you got coming up?
About me, okay, I'm all the time like spreading my time between acting and directing and writing. So I'm like finding the way to produce my fourth film as a director. The script is ready finally, so I'm working on that, and I'll be directing a serial. I don't know, I'm November, December.
Wow. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you for being part of the Philadelphia Unnamed Film Festival. And check out the works that are here. Check out the rest of the lineup for the next 2 days. I am JK. Emily, Diego, Jazmin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And be safe out there. And everyone, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in a little bit after Block 2.